What's good, YouTube? This video is about why new age men want women to do all the work. So, as I've been telling you guys, I'm just rambling off answers from the questions I get off of Instagram. I'm picking them randomly and I'm just going. So I got this question from Instagram, and it's a question I don't get often, but I should. I'm actually concerned that I don't get this more often. But the young lady said, why do new age men want women to take care of them? Not like some men aren't always like that, but it's an epidemic now. She's absolutely right. And there are a few reasons for that. One of the main reasons is, to be quite honest, culture is changing across the world. There are a lot of movements happening in the social atmosphere at the same time that contradict not only each other, but what we've come to know as standards for women and men. So much is said about gender roles and whether or not they're appropriate or sexist, or, you pick a way to describe them. But to be quite honest, while some gender roles are ridiculous and asinine, there are other gender roles that should remain intact if we want to keep the natural order of things. Removing gender roles completely is almost like taking a certain species out of the animal kingdom. It will throw the whole cycle of life off. And to be quite honest, the responsibility that men had to their tribe, to be warriors, to be providers, to be, supporters, to be strong, that was one that we really needed to stay with with men. And for a plethora of reasons, many men have kind of put down their instincts to fiercely protect the women and children of the tribe and serve them through their responsibility. Masculinity is something that can be best observed in a man through his sense of responsibility. But the men nowadays, many of them, not all of them, but the ones we're referring to in this video, don't all have a purpose. And men should have a purpose. Men without purpose fall into very irresponsible habits. And to be quite honest, very feminine habits. A lot of these guys want to be treated like the woman now. They want to be wined and dined and chased like princesses. They're expecting Princess Charming to bring a golden slipper to their front door. And it's partially because of the culture, again, the cultures that are clashing right now. We got feminisms, you got these men who think there's a war on men, and there's some wars going on, but I don't think that it's as simple as we've made it out to be. To be quite honest, masculinity as an idea has been labeled toxic by far too many who really weren't understanding and taking into account the ramifications of dumping the idea of masculinity just because it seems to oppose femininity. Women and men are both masculine and feminine. Masculinity and femininity are not gender specific or gender exclusive, but they are gender dominant. And I think that balance is very important. I'm not going to make this video about gender, but I will just say that some of those old school ideas about what a man is supposed to do and what he's supposed to provide should still be in play, and they aren't. There's also this issue about fathers not staying where they're supposed to be, which is in the home. We have a whole generation of young men who, and really middle-aged men now, who were potentially raised by single mothers. All over the world, that just wasn't a thing that happened before. And so when you're talking about why new age men want to be taken care of and why they need to be babied and coddled or treated like women, or women would be thought to be treated traditionally, it's because you have a whole bunch of men who were raised in effect by their mothers alone, or by a bunch of women in their family. They didn't get no real masculine energy. They didn't get a real masculine identity displayed to them. They didn't see men doing what they were supposed to do up close and personal. A lot of these guys only seen men on TV. They were raised by the TV shows they watched, the rap videos they listened to. A woman can do an amazing job raising a child, but a woman cannot replace a man equally as strong in providing a masculine role model for a young man. there's a difference there. And those roles both need to be supplied for a child to come out balanced and even, given that both of the parents are healthy and non-toxic and, you know, nurturing in the ways that the feminine and the masculine are supposed to nurture in their responsibility set. Too many single mothers, and way too many single men acting like they ain't got no kids around here. And you're seeing the result of a bunch of men who just didn't have a father figure now starting to act like women because they were raised by women and they don't know how else to act. So with that said, they've been separated from the rites of passage that men once had to go through. You know, you used to know how to fight. You used to know how to go to war. You used to know how to protect your family. You used to know how to go provide for them, go hunt for food. Like, men had to do some things. They had a purpose in the household. They had a purpose in the village. They had a purpose in the cave. Now these young men, they just grow up and don't have a purpose. They don't have a sense of responsibility to anyone. They run around laying a bunch of young women down, you know, manipulating them, lying to them, mistreating them, disregarding them, because they don't have a real close tie to their real masculinity, to their manly purpose. They don't understand that a man is supposed to be strong. He's supposed to protect, but he's not just supposed to protect the women in his house. He's supposed to protect any woman that he comes across. He's supposed to have honor and class and respect for any woman he comes across. He's supposed to respect that woman for the values that she possesses. He's supposed to protect all the children in the community. He's supposed to contribute to the growth of the community, right? He doesn't taint his dating pool. He doesn't disrespect the women in his dating pool, because as a community, the community suffers when the women have been battered and when the women have been exposed to trauma, when the women have been exposed to negative experiences. It doesn't help the children of the tribe. It doesn't help the other women of the tribe. It creates dysfunction within the tribes. Since ancient civilization, men were supposed to be serving a purpose, but now men don't have a purpose outside of sowing their wild oats and sleeping with a bunch of women. And again, I'm not talking about all men. I'm talking about the men we're referring here. These aren't men. These are old boys. These are old boys, many of which are really old boys. But they really haven't ascended into manhood. They haven't come into their greatness yet, because they haven't adopted their responsibilities as men and their purpose as men to be protectors, to be providers, to be builders, to be nurturers of a community. So to answer your question again, yes, it's an epidemic, but there are a lot of reasons for it. There are so many different social movements that I can point to and give you a very valid reasons how it affects men. There are industrial reasons and certain revolutions and eras that we've been through, you know, in all of our respective countries that have contributed to men now just not knowing what their place is outside of having balls and dicks. And again, there are a lot of real men out here. Real men are everywhere, but these weird little boys too, they're everywhere as well. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm talking about all men. I'm clearly not. I'm not one of them. I don't hang with nobody who's one of them. All of my bros, all of my homeboys know how to treat a woman. They take care of their family. They respect and honor the women in their family. So it's a ton of men out here doing what they're supposed to do, and that are willing to do what they're supposed to do when they make a family for themselves. But women often don't choose them. They like the idea of the guy who doesn't care about anybody, who does what he wants to do, who the other women want but nobody can get, because they see that lack of responsibility for themselves, for the women that they date, and for their community, and they think, oh, he's a rebel, he doesn't care. It looks like power, but what it's really weakness. It's really immaturity. And women, I would hope, at some point start to identify real masculinity as you know, the responsibilities that a man puts on his own shoulders. That's masculinity. The man being dependable is masculine. The man being sturdy in what he wants and being sure-footed is masculine. A man keeping his word and being genuine and not being manipulative. Those things are masculine. Those are real classic masculine qualities, but women at the moment are actually enjoying the effeminate men that are running around here because they can agree with and they can identify with a lot of the behaviors. Many of the young men nowadays would fit better into the classic gender role of a woman than they would of a man. And while, again, gender roles aren't always appropriate and some are just downright stupid and foolish and sexist, there are many gender roles that actually served a great purpose. A greater good for the community was served through maintaining these balances. And so we need to get back to a place of balance. But right now, I don't see that happening, because every year we get further and further from what's true about men and women. And we've created an alternate reality. So I don't know what to tell you. Try to find a man who at least had a positive male role model, or who has become a positive male role model. If he couldn't be a big brother or mentor a young man, then he's probably not man enough for you. Get a man with a sense of responsibility to his tribe, to his home, to his family, to his community. And there you'll find a man. The rest of these little boys are definitely going to want you to call them first and probably put their legs up in the air if you get freaky with them. I'm going to get with y'all later.